Hello.
Hello.
Greetings of the day to the everyone. The topic of our today's webinar is cybersecurity. So the guest speaker of our today's webinar is Ms. Ayushi Doshi, Assistant Cybersecurity Manager at the Deloitte Ireland. So she even cleared with the gate, and so without any further delay, I would like to request to Arushi ma'am to start with the session.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to meet you. My name is Arushi Doshi. I've been a student at SVIT not long ago, so I definitely understand the position you're in. Welcome to the session today. We're going to be talking about cybersecurity. And this is going to be an introductory session. We won't particularly delve too deep into what is ethical hacking or what is forensics. This is just going to be a high level overview. So a little bit about myself. So I'll start with what my career story is. So I studied in convent in Baroda and then went on to do my bachelor's in computer engineering in SVIT. And I think the good thing that I learned during computer engineering is that I actually liked the subject. A lot of my friends did computer engineering, but didn't like it was what they wanted to do further in life. But I was sad that I wanted to do computers. So I went on to do my master's, and I moved to Dublin, Ireland. It's a small country right next to UK. And I came here to do my master's in cyber forensics and programming. Essentially, simple language में कहूँ तो I came here to be an ethical hacker. As soon as I finished my master's, I started an internship at Deloitte, and I got lots of experience. I got to do a little bit of everything, a little bit of penetration testing or ethical hacking, a little bit of forensics, talking to clients, just understanding how it works in a business. And so on. At the moment, I have gone through the ranks, and I'm currently an assistant manager in the team. So today I'll be talking to you about why I am here, first thing, why cybersecurity is important, how it impacts you, what sort of cyber attacks are going around. You must have seen a lot in the news. So we'll touch on a little bit of what's happening in the cyberspace in India and what sort of career opportunities can be available to you after you finish your bachelor's. I've said we will try and hack a website, but it's very difficult to do it in a remote setting. So I'll try my best to just go through how to hack a website with you at a high level. So without any further delay, let's kick off. So why cybersecurity? Everybody asks this question, especially companies like Facebook and LinkedIn and Yahoo and Forbes and all the companies which have been hacked. or which will be hacked at some point, ask this question. And it's just that we have so much of our data available on the web, on the internet. Every Instagram post that you make, every LinkedIn status that you update. Sorry about my lights. Are all things that beg the question, why cybersecurity? If I were to go on Facebook today and take a picture of my breakfast and upload it to Facebook and tag all my friends and show how cool my life is, and suddenly when I go to Facebook tomorrow and that photo is no longer there and my account just has very unusual posts, what does that say about me as a user? Will I trust that company again? Probably not. I think we as users have a lot of power, and that's why companies like these big social media giants need to be especially careful about our data and what we're putting on their platforms. So as you can see, I have a few statistics here about what companies have been compromised. And this is just stats from like the past 2-3 years. I haven't even gone back like 10 years or anything. So living in the 21st century, big giants like Facebook and Forbes and Marriott hotels are getting hacked. If we go closer to home, Domino's was hacked a year ago. MobiKwik wallets had a data breach. And we're not talking about data breaches of like 5 users, 100 users, 2,000 users. This, so if I were to talk about Domino's, they had 18 crore order records breached. And that means everyone, including you, me, whoever, if at any point ordered from Domino's in the last 10 years, your data was breached. If you have a MobiKwik wallet, if you're like me and you like the discounts, you definitely have a MobiKwik wallet. And that means your data was breached there again. And loads of people might ask, like, what is the issue? Like, it's just my name, phone number. Agar fest માટે sponsorship લેવા જઈએ તો પણ આપે છે. એમાં શું? But that's not the issue here. It's about your personal data, which you should have control over. This is data, like, if you look at phone number, email address, at your home address, your name, date of birth, you might not think that it's very sensitive information. But what if it was your COVID health record, or if it was your Aadhaar card, or if it was your PAN card, and someone had a copy of it and they tried to impersonate you? They tried to create a fake profile with your name, your information, and tried to basically take over your digital online life. Would you be happy with that? What if they started posting like really bad things online? Would you be happy with that? Probably not, because then it gets personal. Then it gets મારું Facebook account hack થઈ ગયું, or મારું Instagram નથી ચાલતું. And that's when you think that maybe, yeah, we should look into cybersecurity more. So this is what I talked about: personal information, your images, status updates, emojis, your behavior. So you see there's loads of scams going on at the moment where someone will send you like an email and say, oh, I'm so and so person. Let's say you're looking for an internship and you applied to like 100 companies in just Baroda and Ahmedabad. And you've got emails back from like some random email address that says, oh, I'm so and so person from LinkedIn. This is my LinkedIn profile. And if you just pay the small fee, you will get a job in our company. Will everyone fall for that? Probably not, but some people might. So that's the damage. That's the damage when all of your personal information is out online, available to other people. They can take advantage of you in more than one way. So moving on, what consists of a cyber attack? So I have a link there. I'll send this presentation afterwards, so you can check this out. If you want to just go to that website right away, you can check a live cyber attack threat map. So what this map shows essentially is, in real time, what sort of cyber attacks are happening. And how this map works is basically they are looking at all of the network traffic that is going across the globe. So this means if you've ever heard about a denial of service attack, which is where you just flood an internet server with so much traffic that the server can't deliver the website that it is supposed to. So let's say if you went to Domino's website and Domino's website already has so many people trying to access the website that it just crashed the website and you can't, as a legitimate user, place an order. So that means for Domino's, this is a big loss of revenue, of reputation, because immediately someone will take a picture and say on Twitter, Domino's new website down che. What a shit company. So it's basically that's the issue with these cyber attacks. It's just not a matter of data. It's also a matter of reputation for all these companies. So yeah, that's just a fun exercise if you do want to go and check out what cyber attacks in real time look like. So now we'll talk about why do people hack. So we know a little bit about what is hacking. We know what the damage is from our perspective. Like, what do us users lose when our accounts get hacked or when a website we're trying to visit is not loading? Now let's put on like our hacker caps. Why would people want to hack something? So in the basic context, hacking is gaining unauthorized access or control of a computer system. I like to put it in this way. Making a computer system do something that it's not originally supposed to do is computer hacking or ethical hacking or penetration testing, whatever you want to call it. We've all seen like our phone hacks, and there's like a hack for cutting vegetables. There's a hack for literally everything. And because of COVID, we've all been indoors. We've all been stuck at home. So we have Dalgona coffee hacks. We have hacks for literally everything in the globe. So computer hacking is one of that. And people who are interested in hacking need to have that mindset that you shouldn't give up. Just because you tried something and it didn't work doesn't mean that you put your hands up and walk away and say, not my thing, nathi karu. So that's what the mindset is needed for hacking. Why might people want to hack you, or why would they want to access your computer or disrupt Domino's website? First and most important thing is to steal data. Next thing would be to disrupt services. But the biggest factor and the most important one is for financial gain. It's very easy to get a lot of money if you're really smart and you can hack into a system. And by no means am I saying you should do this. I'm just saying that this is what motivates hackers. About 80% of the hackers currently active in underground forums are there for Bitcoin. They're there for financial gain. A few percentage of hackers are there for political reasons. So there could be hacks where one government is trying to hack into another government's secret files or confidential data. And this is for gaining political advantage, because when these governments meet, or when, let's say, Ukraine is, the government of Ukraine is being represented at a forum and is talking to counterparts from Russia. What do you think? If they know inside information, wouldn't they have an advantage? So that's for political reasons that some people might hack. Another way would be just for fun. I think a lot of hackers that I know started out they just started hacking for fun. And there are other bunch of hackers like myself and my colleagues at Deloitte who hack for ethical reasons. So what does ethical here mean? It means we have permission to hack into a system. We're not doing it for fun. We're not doing it for financial gain. We're not doing it for political reasons. And we're definitely not trying to steal their data or disrupt services. We're doing it so that we can help make the systems more secure. This is another fun exercise which you can do. I'm sure a lot of you would have seen this website, but for those who haven't, it's called Have I Been Pawned? And pawned basically means someone taking over your account, or like your account being compromised, account and password being compromised in a data breach. So, for example, I put my email address there, and feel free to reach out to that email if you have questions at any point. I put my email address there, and what you see on the screen is the data breaches that I have been a part of. So you can see like Canva, Shane. I know some websites are now blocked in India, but like this was a time when they weren't blocked and they were basically accessible. So all of these websites had good security. It wasn't that they were like just giving away data for free, but it's just that they didn't keep up with times. They didn't keep up. Like just because you build a website today doesn't mean it will be secure tomorrow. Let's say you set up a website in PHP, very fancy, looks very nice. You're using Node.js or React.js or whatever for the front end, looks very fancy. But then your database is MySQL. And then to secure the database, you have root account called admin and the password is admin. That website is just asking for a hack. That website will not remain secure online. You may avoid hacks today, tomorrow, day after, but it's just a matter of time before your website will get hacked. So we'll talk about like the top security risks, and these are pretty common. A lot of you would know these. But free Wi-Fi basically is a security risk. We all like going to coffee shops and restaurants, which give free Wi-Fi. I think almost all cafes in Vadodara city have a free Wi-Fi logo. And that's great. It's good you're getting something for free, but is it really free or are you paying with your data? But essentially what happens when you're on a free Wi-Fi. So wireless sniffing. So let's say you connect to a Wi-Fi, which is open for all. Like it doesn't have a password that you need to type in or anything. You just walk into a cafe and you connect to the Wi-Fi. And that's great. You can keep up, you can Instagram all of your food. You can talk to friends, you can video call certain friends and make them jealous about what a good life you have. But the issue is, if the Wi-Fi is not using encryption, so what does encryption here mean? Your websites that you go to should all be first and foremost HTTPS. So it should be a secure tunnel. But let's say your Wi-Fi is not encapsulating over that tunnel. So what happens is you're going to google.com, and because Google uses good certificates, you know that your data will not get leaked while you type a search query or while you check your email. But let's say you go to a website which is not using really good encryption, which is not using, maybe they're not using HTTPS, or maybe they're using HTTPS but not in a way that checks certificates accurately. In this case, you're just by wireless sniffing. So what is wireless sniffing? It's just a small, simple tool called Wireshark that you can run on a machine. So all I need to do is connect it to the same network. So let's say someone is connected to a cafe in, for lack of better name, Starbucks. Let's say someone is connected to Starbucks and I'm sitting in Starbucks with my little wireless sniffing tool active at the same time. If that person is going to a website which is not HTTPS, it's just HTTP, and we're on the same network, I can literally view everything that the person is doing. And I don't even need to do anything about it. I don't need special tools or special knowledge about that. Just because that person didn't check whether the Wi-Fi is secure or not. What is another thing someone can do? They can create a fake Wi-Fi hotspot with the same name. So let's say you're going to McDonald's, and McDonald's has really good Wi-Fi, good connectivity. You can sit there, get all your assignments done. Great. But then what happens if your phone automatically, you've been to McDonald's so many times that your phone knows that, oh yeah, this is McDonald's, I just need to connect straight away. Someone else sitting in McDonald's has spun up their own hotspot with the same name, McDonald's. And you can actually, when you create a wireless connection, there's something called an SSID, which is the ID for the hotspot. If I'm able to spoof the SSID for McDonald's, or if I know what their SSID is, I can basically create the same hotspot. And because our phones are very smart and they like to remember Wi-Fi networks that we've connected to in the past, they will automatically connect to my fake Wi-Fi hotspot. And what this means is even if you go to a HTTPS website, because my hotspot is the gateway. So what happens when you talk to a website? Your laptop will send traffic to the wireless hotspot, so your internet connection, and then your ISP, internet service provider, will make a connection to whatever website you're visiting. So essentially, I'm sitting in the middle with my fake hotspot, and I can see everything that's going through. Whatever you're doing on Facebook, whatever passwords you typed in, whatever bank transactions you make, I don't even have to make a lot of effort to do that. Just because there was effort in setting up the fake Wi-Fi hotspot. But then after that, it was like very little effort involved. Another thing that people do oftentimes is redirect traffic to a fake website. And this is something I've done in the past. So let's say I go to the railway station, and railway station has free Wi-Fi. What I'm going to do is try and take control of their main Wi-Fi hub. Once I try to gain access to it, I can then set up my own fake Google and change the entries in the host file. I know some of these words might seem Acanthiavigo or what is this, but bear with me. What we're trying to do is like I said, all our devices are very smart. When you try and go to a website, your computer first checks a file called hosts file. This is saved in your computer. What the hosts file has is the name of the website and the IP address that it needs to go to and the port number. What this does is it makes it easier for your computer to go and visit. So next time you go and type in TikTok or type in Facebook or type in Google, it's not going to make a DNS query to the website's server and check, where is the DNS? It will just check your host file first, because it's a website you keep visiting. So it'll check your host file and then see, okay, yeah, I found the IP address. This is where I need to talk to Facebook, or this is where I need to talk to Google. So if you are in a railway station with not so great Wi-Fi, and someone has managed to corrupt this host file, you can just redirect people to fake websites. You can push fake ads or not appropriate ads to people's devices who have been connecting to your network. Which sounds a little, is this something that we're okay with? Personally, I'm not okay with this. I don't want, like, let's say I walk into the railway station and I'm getting 10 ads for, buy this chevda, buy this samosa. No, I don't want that. I will go look around the shops and I will buy myself. I don't need ads, especially being pushed to my phone. So these are the risks essentially of free Wi-Fi. What do you do when you kind of are smart and you take your own internet with you, or you take your own hotspot? Jio has great connectivity. So in India, it's not, I think everyone's connected with either Jio or Airtel or Vodafone in that particular order. So it's not a huge risk, but still a lot of people get tempted when you have free Wi-Fi. So if you are going to use free Wi-Fi, definitely invest in either a VPN app for your phone, because then that safeguards you in an encrypted tunnel. Don't use things like file sharing or like peer-to-peer. Like, don't be downloading torrents on your phone when you're on a free Wi-Fi. That's just asking for your mobile data to be breached. Keep all your operating system and software up to date. This is just a no-brainer. And avoid using like Wi-Fi hotspots for online banking or paying the bills. I know there might be times when it may be unavoidable, but if so, always switch to your own personal internet connection instead of using a Wi-Fi hotspot. Cyberbullying does not apply to us, so I'm just going to move on. But essentially, this is where people, especially this used to be a thing when Orkut and Facebook was very new. Loads of people would get these bullies messaging them on Facebook saying, "Oh, send me your photographs or send me this, or I will like leak your account or hack your account." And this is just to make sure that don't send private information to people you don't know on the web. This is just something common sense. We don't need to be talking about this, but because it's an important aspect of cybersecurity, I'm just touching on that here. Malware. So I think almost everyone now knows what ransomware is, but for those who don't, it's a particular type of malware which locks your computer and asks for a fee. And the fee would usually be in the form of a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or Monero, or like these new random hundreds of cryptocurrencies which could practically be untraceable. And why do hackers do this? This is because it's easy for them to get into your system through like one random email. So let's say I remember getting hacked this way when I was in college, and it was just my friends playing a trick. But basically, they sent me a document file saying exam schedule. I know it's from a person I trust. And the extension looked a bit funny. It was not like your usual docx file, Word file. It was like a .zip file. And I was like, maybe they might have zipped it and sent it. Who thinks that much when you're in college? And obviously it's exam time. So you obviously need the exam schedule to prepare. But what happened was once I downloaded that file and I unzipped it, it ran this really small program in the background, which in normal terminology you would call a keylogger. And what a keylogger does, it's a type of malware where it's just sitting there silently and making a note of all your keystrokes. So what this keylogger does, if let's say you go into Google and type in how to make Dalgona coffee, it will make a record of that. All it does is it creates a text file with a record of everything you do. Let's say I log into Instagram and I type in my username password. It will make a record of that. And it was this keylogger which was going on in the background. Another thing that was attached to this program was what we call a screenshot program. So what this program does, it silently takes screenshots of your screen. And that means anytime you're on the laptop, it'll randomly take a screenshot. You won't even know. And it sends it to the person, like whichever email the person has configured. So my friend got this program, and there's hundreds and thousands of these available on the internet. Don't go looking for them because they're not good for your computer. But what my friend did was download one of these programs and send it to me in the form of this innocent looking document. I clicked the document. The document was empty. And I was like, yeah, it's just a time pass prank, which someone is doing. I was like, fine. Few days later, my friend was like, oh, you spend a lot of time on so-and-so website. And I was like, how do you know? And he didn't say anything. He just moved on. A few days later, I saw my Facebook was looking a bit weird. Like it had a few messages which I hadn't sent. And then I was like, maybe something is wrong. I should change my password or whatever. But the issue, what happens with malware is just changing your password is not the solution because your system is infected now. Your entire laptop, whatever you're using, is infected. So if you have a keylogger on it, even if you change the password, it will just remember the new password you set. It'll make a note in its little text file. And there's nothing you can do about it. So the only way to get around it is go to a different device and try to change your password from there, or try to see if there is a discrepancy between devices as well. These days, both Mac OS, Linux, Windows are doing really good job of picking up these random programs running in the background, and they will show you a pop-up saying there's something wrong with your computer, or they'll show you a pop-up saying it seems like this file is not what it claims to be. And don't forget that these days you can get a virus from pretty much anything. You can open an email and it could, without you knowing, download something. So it's just important to be aware. Like half of cybersecurity is just about being aware of the things that are out there. So that's about malware. Like I said, they can be really different types of malware. Some could be disabling hardware, some could involve data theft, some could be forced advertising. I don't know how many people download torrents now, but back in the day, it was a big thing because obviously streaming services like Netflix and Hotstar and all these million others that we have now weren't around. So everyone was downloading from torrents, and it was illegal, and it is still illegal. But most of the adware and spyware that you would get would be from these like torrent downloads. And most of those files would just slowly, very slowly slow down your computer. So you just think, oh, what's happening? I don't know what the issue is. And it's not because you have like 100 GB filled up on your computer. It's because there's like these tiny programs running in the background, eating up your computer memory, which would essentially be malware. We talked about phishing earlier a little bit. I'm sure everyone knows what like phishing is, but at a high level, it's just unexpected emails that you get. And some of these are so like they look so real these days that you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Like, for example, this was one that I got a few months ago, and it had, "Dear sir, go through the attached document on safety measures of coronavirus." And if I didn't know better, I would have clicked it. Like if this had gone to a guy, they would have been like, "Oh, okay, I should definitely check out safety measures." And if someone sent this in 2020 when coronavirus was the talk of the town, it still is talk of the town, but at the time, everyone was hungry for information. So literally everyone would click that box saying, "Oh, let's check out what the safety measures are." Or someone would send you an email saying, "The school hack which keeps you COVID free for life." Loads of people will click that. And if you don't click it, probably our parents will, or our grandparents will, because they don't know how to identify these sort of phishing emails. Some of them are really believable as well. So essentially, these are the sort of attacks that happen in cybersecurity. And these may not look your usual cyber attack where you're not like actually hacking into a website and you have this command prompt open with so many lines of code running. That sort of hacking is just for movies. That's not what you do in real life. Password security, I'm not even going to spend time on this. This is just basic. Everyone needs to have strong passwords and not reuse them. But essentially, what I want to get across in this slide is how many of us use passwords which are not I wouldn't say predictable, but they have a set structure. Like most people would set a password which has a capital letter as the first letter. A lot of people will have the symbol or the number at the end. A lot of people will, as you can see, Bart here writing would replace A with an @ sign, S with a $sign, and things like that. And now hackers are picking up on these patterns. And once you can crack a pattern, you can crack a password. So I would say if you really are creative, definitely show your creativity in passwords, and don't use, even with complex characters, don't use passwords which are like a set format. What we do see when trying to crack passwords is a passphrase is a lot better. So let's say if you have a passphrase that says, "My life is great," with spaces, that would be harder for someone to crack, because to crack a space in a password is very difficult. You have to run through literally every possible combination, and then you would say, "Oh, maybe I should try spaces." So if adding a space to your password is an option, I definitely recommend that. Social engineering, again, this is part of phishing. So what is social engineering? It is basically trying to get you to take an action where you don't want to take one. So this could be that WhatsApp message that everyone forwards saying, oh, if you don't forward this to 10 other people, your WhatsApp blue tick will go away, and things like that. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do like simple message forwards or anything. It's just that what that message is essentially social engineering. They're trying to get you to do something which you don't want to do. And this could be like this random email that says, oh, you've won a lottery, or it says, oh, you've got a credit card that's approved. And most of the times we discard these emails because we know they're spam. But occasionally you might get an email which is so tailored, which is so specific, that you actually have to think a couple times whether this is true or not. So essentially with social engineering, just be aware, just be careful, and maybe read the email a couple times. And if you want to learn how to do social engineering, do the opposite of this and observe people, see what they're trying to do. I have a few videos that are good on social engineering as well. So I've linked them to the attachments. So I'll send that afterwards. One of the very popular ones is from is what I've linked here. So definitely recommend watching. The next thing is I just want to touch quickly on social media security. And it's just that I don't know how many people use Snapchat anymore, but I think TikTok is the big one and Instagram following suit. But all of these apps do have location sharing and image geotagging. And it's not something which is bad. Obviously, you want to, if you're putting a photo on Instagram, you do want to tag the location. But it's just be careful that you don't want all these things auto-enabled. It should be your choice whether you want to geotag a photo or not. It should be your choice whether you want to share your location or not. WhatsApp recently has improved in terms of their live location setting, where it just allows people to track your live location for a very short period of time. Previously, it could be like I would send someone a message with my live location, and like the next day also they would be able to see where I am at that point, which was very stupid. But yeah, all of these apps have improved security, but it's just a matter of making sure that you know what your settings are for these apps. Okay, so I'm going to cover a little bit of what hacking is and what a web application hack looks like. There's very different types of hacking out there. It could be, you could hack a web application, you could hack an API endpoint, you could hack like a computer, like a physical computer, you could hack an ATM. But essentially, this is the most straightforward of hacks. So we'll start with this. You must have in your lesson so far learned about what is client and what is server. Essentially, all of us, when we go and access a website, we're all clients. And where the website is hosted is the server. The request is sent over the internet, pretty straightforward. What you send to the server is a request, and what you get back is a response. That's what a web application looks like. But essentially, how are all these web applications built? They're built on code. Here we have like a sample website, which is written in HTML, and there's like a few style sheets attached just for CSS. And if you go into Chrome and just do view page source, you'll be able to see what the source code is. So this is not rocket science at all. What you do as part of web application penetration testing is look for vulnerabilities in code. So what do we mean by vulnerabilities? This could be as simple as what we call bugs. When you're writing an application and you run into certain issues, this could be as simple as error 404 not found, or like not an error, but actually 200 success. When you try to break into a web application, you try to check the source code. Is there anything in the source code where you can try to bypass? So let's say if you have a web application and you're doing client-side validation for username and password, you're trying to make sure that the person entering username and password have like put a password which is strong enough but you're doing this validation on the client side. So essentially using JavaScript on the page that you can see on your mobile or on your laptop. You don't do this if you don't do this validation on the server side. Essentially, what an ethical hacker would do is try and bypass client side validation. And what this means basically is, let's say I go to my browser, switch off JavaScript rendering. That's very simple. It's a one-click thing. Let's say I go to Chrome and switch off JavaScript rendering. What will happen is I'll now be able to submit whatever I want in that username and password field and submit it to the server. And because the server is not checking for anything, they will accept it. Because all the validation, all the checking is happening on the client side, which is a very stupid way to design a website, but there are still websites who do this. And this is how can you find out whether a website does this? By checking the page source. So a lot of people ask me, like, do you need to know how to code to be able to break into websites? And the short answer is no, not really. But the long answer is you probably need to read a little bit of code to understand what is happening. So to be a good hacker, you definitely need to be a decent programmer. I wouldn't say you need to be the best programmer, but you need to be a decent programmer. And we've all seen like pop-ups of this sort, which is a common thing which we call cross-site scripting. So cross-site scripting is basically an attack where you try and inject a script or code into a website to make it do something it shouldn't. So let's say I created a dummy website and I added this cross-site scripting. So where would you be able to add cross-site scripting? So let's say you have a website, for example, Myntra. So you go to myntra.com. In the search field, instead of searching for like actual products, a search field is basically what? An input field. You type something and you hit search. So in that input field, let's say I try and add a piece of JavaScript code. If the website is smart, it will just ignore my code. It will not do anything. If the website is dumb, what it will try to do is try and render, try to reproduce what the JavaScript code is doing. And when you render JavaScript, it could be anything. So here I've just created a pop-up which says test. At some point, I could create an ad using the same code. At one point, I could create, let's say, a pop-up saying, oh, you've won the lottery, click here. Or I could make a pop-up saying, oh, your computer is infected, you need to repair it now. So anything. So these are all different types of attacks that you can do if you know how to inject code into a website. In this instance, I added code into a comment box. So on this website, I had created a comment field. So I just added code and I submitted it. And what happened when I submitted that little bit of script? It was stored in the database. So my database also didn't realize that this is actually not like legitimate information. This is just random script tags. And the database saved it. So what happens the next time someone goes to this website? They will get a pop-up that says test. Other types of vulnerabilities could be more common. So this could be information leakage. So let's say you go to a website and you can try and do this for a few websites. Just put 2 slashes at the end and see if you can get into the root directory of the website. This is just information leakage. There's not much you can do with this sort of attack, but it gives you more information. So what hackers love to do is gather as much information as they can about the website. It could be as simple as like, error messages. So it could be as simple as error messages. So this means I entered a username and password, but the website specifically told me that it was just the password that you entered, which was correct. So if I have like a list of 100 email addresses, at least I know some email address is valid. And then I can try and do a forgot password for that email address and try and take over essentially the account that way. And this is a very common attack when you hear like these Twitter accounts and Facebook accounts getting hacked. This is like, they don't even hack into the website. They just try and take over the account by these random things. Again, a few videos which I won't be able to show on the screen there, but I have linked. This is a recent hack from 4 months ago, where like an Instagram story could crash your phone, and it wasn't doing any extra coding or scripting or trying to break into anything. No, it was a very simple logic where the story had like a counter button, but it was such a huge button that like the memory of the phone crashed. So if you, let's say, open up Instagram today and you can put a countdown option, and when the countdown is done, it shows that graffiti. But if you, those elements are resizable, so basically you can make that element so big, not on your phone, but like if you go on your laptop and you make an element so big by editing the code behind it, then you could make an element like almost 16 GB big, and your phone won't be able to render it if your phone's RAM is like 8 GB. So that's essentially how this guy did it. There were a few ways to do the same hack. So here he shows basically what was done. So he maximized that element to such a huge degree, and that what you're seeing on the screen is the maximized version of that countdown timer. And because it was so big, like that element was so big, the phone crashed. And the issue here is that it's Instagram's fault because they didn't check whether like elements should not be able to resize more than your phone screen or whatever. And that's how this attack was caused. I have a few screenshots of what code was edited essentially. But yeah, there was like similar attempts where people tried to create stories of this sort to exploit the bug. But like I said at the beginning, your best friend is view page source, and that will give you a lot of insight into how websites work and how apps work. Here I've got another name of a tool called Burp Suite. So Burp Suite basically sits between your web application and web server, and it allows you to change input. So let's say on the web application, this could be Facebook, where you have username, password. Before you submit username, password to like the Facebook server, there's an application that sits in between called Burp Suite, and it will capture what you type in. You can modify that in that application and send back out. So what I did here was the user is Raj and the password is something, and Raj is an admin. So what I did then is basically in that Burp Suite tool, I changed the username to admin and the password. And the web server realized that, oh, actually, this person is an admin, though actually I initially didn't have that admin permission. And it said, oh, welcome, admin. So what I'm trying to demonstrate here is tools like these are many, and you don't need to know each and every one of them, but you need to understand the basic anatomy of what is web application, what is web server, what is request, what is response. And that's how you can try and manipulate one of these things to hack it, essentially. So closing off with what sort of career options are available in cybersecurity, because this is what we are all here for. There's many different opportunities. So let's say you're someone who doesn't like coding that much, or you're not really into it, and you want to be a cybersecurity, you want to be in a cybersecurity field. There's loads of different options. Not everyone needs to be the ethical hacker or penetration tester. If you're interested in forensics, you could be a digital forensic analyst. If you're interested in doing more sort of monitoring work, so it's called Security Operations Center. So that's where, like, you must have seen in movies, like 20 people sitting in front of screens and they're doing monitoring, where they're monitoring live network traffic or they're monitoring systems for any issues. You could be that person, or you could be an incident responder, or what we call threat hunter. So basically what a threat hunter does is you go around hacking systems. You go around and try and see which system you can get into, and see how you can then improve that system security. If you like building things, let's say you want to be a programmer, a Java programmer, a Python programmer, .NET, whatever. You could go on and be a security architect. So that means you design the solution, but you also ensure that security is built into it. So the next time, so if security architects design websites today, and like a lot of them do, you know that they have a level of security built into them, and you know they're going to be good and resilient to cyber attacks. A lot of people like doing or like playing with malware. It's a risky job, but definitely very interesting if you want to be a malware analyst or a reverse engineer. So what these people do is essentially take a copy of the malware, try and reverse engineer it. So what reverse engineering means is you unpack malware is basically an executable file or something of that sort, a program. You try and unpack the program and find out what it does. And that is how like these people who crack ransomware codes or find workarounds for malware essentially do. That's how all these antivirus companies work. They have loads of malware analysts sitting and dissecting. Essentially, you're a surgeon or a doctor for malware, where you're taking it apart and finding out what each component does. So these are the options. I have the resources linked here. And like I said, I will send the presentation afterwards. I have left my email address as well if you want to reach out and if you have any questions. But that's everything from me. Thank you so much for bearing with me today, and hope you have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the wonderful session. I hope the students were enjoyed and gained the knowledge after this session. And I would like to thank our head of the department and our principal sir for giving us this opportunity to conduct this webinar. And I would also like to thank all the students for attending the webinar lastly. So thank you so much, Arusi ma'am, for giving us your valuable time and uh, other country time variation is also very important for us.
Not at all. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.